I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Donald Trump's lawyers continue to further incriminate him on live TV. Just last night, Jim Trusty, one of Donald Trump's lead lawyers, went on CNN and basically just said Donald Trump did it, and that Donald Trump took the documents. And according to Jim Trusty, even though this is not the law, in fact, it is a violation of the law, Jim Trusty said as soon as Donald Trump takes it, it automatically declassifies the records under the Presidential Records Act. That is simply not true. So Jim Trusty went on CNN after news broke that in July of 2021, Donald Trump held a meeting at Bedminster, not at Mar-a-Lago, at his golf club, Bedminster in New Jersey. And he met with two individuals who were writing the autobiography. They were ghostwriting it for Mark Meadows. And part of the conversation turned to how Donald Trump felt about Mark Milley, General Mark Milley, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And around that time, an article was just published in the New Yorker, and it quoted Mark Milley as basically saying that he took all of these steps to try to avoid Donald Trump from putting America into all of these wars and from being completely reckless with our nuclear weapons and destroying our allies, and how Mark Milley worked to put a stop to that. Donald Trump was very embarrassed by that. So Trump told these individuals ghostwriting Mark Meadows' autobiography that he held classified materials that showed Mark Milley was not telling the truth. And he was apparently holding those classified materials and trying to show these individuals that he had these classified materials. He stated to them, "This current moment, these records are classified, so I can't show them to you, but if you only knew what was right before me, you would know that Mark Milley was not telling the truth." We also learned from this very good reporting by CNN, I should add, that Mark Milley, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, has also been cooperating with Special Counsel Jack Smith against Donald Trump. So after that news broke, oh, and I should add one more thing. Can't bury the lead here. All of that was on a recording. Yes, Donald Trump had multiple aides in the room, and one of his aides, Margot Martin, who used to work at the White House, and then she became a personal aide to Donald Trump after he finished disgracing us in the White House. This is Margot Martin right there. She was recording this. So she had this recorded. I think it was on her laptop. So that's how Special Counsel Jack Smith, through his discovery process by issuing subpoenas, ultimately found these recordings where Donald Trump was bragging about having classified records to try to attack the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley. It's about a 2-minute recording in a longer tape, according to the report. But this was recorded by Donald Trump's aide. It wasn't like even secretly recorded. Like Donald Trump's aide recorded this. Special Counsel Jack Smith, just through great investigative work, managed to find this recording. So with that as background, this is Jim Trusty on CNN. Abby Phillip, who, by the way, did a very, very good job in this interview. She asks, so why would Trump have a document that seems to pertain to military plans? Play this clip.
Why would former President Trump have a document that seems to pertain to military plans regarding a very significant U.S. adversary, have them in his possession, and be discussing them with people who don't have an appropriate clearance, whether he declassified them or not? Why would he do that?
You know what's really fascinating about the leak is DOJ is trying to justify this persecution of the current administration's leading opposition by saying, oh my God, he had these sensitive materials that he shouldn't have had. And then they leak to you guys vivid details of a document that they say is classified. I mean, they can't have their cake and eat it too.
To be fair, these are not vivid. To be fair, these are not vivid details of the document. Trump is on the video describing the contents of this document to people, biographers of his former chief of staff. So he's the one doing the describing.
You just did a piece with Caitlin that basically vouched for saying these are the details we're hearing, whether it's his description or actually seeing the document. What I'm telling you is I'm not trying the case in the media. I'm not going to sit here and address the document as if it's right or if that audio tape exists or as if it's not something that's really wrong. This is persecutorial justice. I've been around DOJ for 27 years. I've never seen a leak campaign like this.
Were any documents?
And notice what Jim Trusty there, he goes, you know what's really fascinating about the leak? So Donald Trump's lawyer, Jim Trusty, in this interview, he's focused on the leak. The leak? Donald Trump's own personal aide, Margot Martin, is the source of this. She was the one who recorded this. Trump's aide recorded Donald Trump. But notice their focus is on the leak.
Whether you're looking to hear about the latest on the rising tensions in Ukraine from top officials or about the US's diplomatic boycott of the Beijing Olympics, Crooked Media's Pod Save the World is your cheat sheet for global events. Each week, co-hosts Tommy Vitor and Ben Rhodes break down the biggest stories from around the world and introduce you to the activists, politicians, and journalists on the front lines. Count on hearing stories from the White House Situation Room, funny anecdotes, and maybe a few F-bombs along the way. New episodes drop every Wednesday. Find the Pod Save the World YouTube channel for the show and lots of bonus content.
Here, Jim Trusty says during this interview that he can prove Donald Trump declassified the documents. But take a look at Jim Trusty's face as he's saying this. Play the clip.
These tapes would indicate that former President Trump knew that the documents that he had were classified. Does that not make his statements about blanket declassification and some statements by his representatives, wouldn't that make those lies?
Yeah, I'm not going to dignify the DOJ leak. What I will tell you is this. This is addressing
you just don't want to address the substance.
Well, it'd also be nice if you let me answer. So let me just try to answer because I am trying to be responsive, but I'm not going to bite on a leak campaign and try the case in the media. What I will tell you is there is no doubt that as commander-in-chief, and when the president left Washington, D.C. for Mar-a-Lago, he was actually still president. When he left for Mar-a-Lago with boxes of documents that other people packed for him that he brought, he was the commander-in-chief. There is no doubt that he has the constitutional authority as commander-in-chief to declassify. It does not have to go through some sort of bureaucratic process to be declassified.
But wouldn't it be very easy to simply prove that he just declassified them? Because even though he doesn't have to go through a process, he does have to decide that it's been done. Did he tell anyone?
Yes.
And can you prove it?
Sure, but we're not going to try.
Did he declassify this document that we're referring to?
We're not going to try the case leak by leak.
In this next clip, Donald Trump's lawyer, Jim Trusty, just lies. And he says that Obama in 2018 wrote a letter to NARA saying we have thousands of classified documents. And Abby Phillip does a great job here, fact checks him and says, no, that's just a lie. That's not what happened. Play this clip.
Records.
Presidential records. See, here's the thing. What we've built into the system is there are years of conversation, typically years of conversation, about whether or not certain documents are personal or presidential, okay? Obama, 2018, wrote a letter, his foundation wrote a letter to NARA saying we have thousands of classified documents, we'll get them to you eventually.
But that is not what happened.
Oh, sure it is. I'll show you the letter.
NARA retained control over all of those documents NARA retained control over all of those documents that you're describing, including the facilities that they were kept in.
No.
That's been fact-checked.
NARA has given an official politicized statement saying we had legal custody. They didn't have physical custody.
They controlled the facility that the documents were in.
Why would the Obama Foundation write a letter? Well, let me finish.
Look, I don't want to get bogged down in other presidents. I'm talking about
But you've just misstated something I want to fix. Can I just fix it real quick?
I'm talking about your client here.
I'm talking
about your client
and
here.
I'm talking about dual systems of justice.
Here is Jim Trusty with Caitlin Collins. And he's asked, if this was declassified, then why are we told that Trump is on the tape telling people that they're classified and he can't show them? Play this clip.
Ask about something you just said to Abby, which was you referenced the fact that Trump was still president when he left office. He left Washington, I think he had about an hour left in his presidency. Are you saying that it was in that hour that he declassified the documents that were taken with him?
No, your timing is a little bit off. He landed in Mar-a-Lago and was at his residence while still president. It was a little bit after that Biden was sworn in. So he had the absolute authority to take every one of those documents, any document he wants, with him when he left the White House. What happens throughout history, through modern history, is that if you take documents and archives thinks they're entitled to it, they start negotiating. And that's what he did. He was telling them things like, hey, just ask if you want anything more. He gave them 15 boxes in January of 2022.
Well, after some back and forth, but just to be clear, you're making the argument right now that by the time he was on the ground in Florida, after he left Washington, that is when he declassified all of these documents that he took with him.
No. I'm saying the documents he brought with him are effectively declassified and personalized under the Presidential Record Act. We're talking about constitutional authority under the Constitution to declassify. If he wants to take stuff with him and say, anything I take with me is declassified, if he wants to take stuff and say, anything I read at night is declassified, that was absolutely his right as president. And the Presidential Records Act makes it clear that we don't even care about classified information. It is a statutory scheme that deals with presidential or personal only.
Jim, if this was declassified, then why are we told that he's on this tape basically telling the people in the room that he can't share it with them?
You are told by DOJ or FBI or whoever filtered that to you anything they can think of to justify a persecution.
But Jim,
Caitlin, I'm telling you, this is. They had rumors out yesterday. There's going to be one every day. They had rumors out yesterday.
So notice what Jim Trusty is doing here, right? I mean, Jim Trusty, everything he's saying here, he's trying to, I guess, win in front of the media. He's admitting to the crimes. There's no such thing as someone can take documents and automatically declassify them. A federal judge would laugh you out of the courtroom before remanding you immediately into custody if that was your argument. Just total and utter lies. They realize, Donald Trump's lawyers, they don't have to do these interviews, right? Like, they're not being forced. They also have the right to remain silent. Perhaps they should take the advice they should be giving their client, but only the best, right? I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 1.5 million subscribers thanks to your awesome support. Check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Wherever you get audio podcasts, subscribe to the MeidasTouch podcast. Have a great day.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.